As you know, our semester is for 10 weeks, and Alhamdulillah, this is our fifth session. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah al-aliy al-azim, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Abil Qasim al-Mustafa Muhammad wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin, la siyama baqiyatullah fil aradin. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We said management is a set of measures that include planning, decision making, organizing, leading and managing resources in order to reach the aims of organization or institution or whatever you want to manage, maybe your own personal life, in efficient way. This definition has different elements. One element is planning, and alhamdulillah, we already talked about planning. I would like just to mention a difference between two types of planning, and then we go to decision making. Sometimes there are executive planning, operational planning. We want to have an event. We don't want to have publicity. We want to, I don't know, test a new product. We want to go into a new market. We want to employ some people. We need to plan. These are minor and normally short-term or mid-term plans. These are normally in order to reach the aims that are already set. But sometimes we have a strategic planning. We review our entire organization, what we have done so far, what we can do in future, what options are there, what opportunities or threats are there, what capacity we have, and in a realistic way, we define a strategy for us. These are normally not something that are for a few days or few weeks or few months. These are for a few years. For example, Prophet Yusuf ala nabiyina wa alayhi wa salam had a plan of 15 years for Egypt. 7 years of farming and harvesting and saving as much as possible. 7 years of being very economical and careful in consumption. And then after 14 years, in the 15 years, things become normal. It's a 15-year plan. It's not for a few days or few weeks or few months. We need to be not wasting too much time on changing our strategy and keep changing the tracks. This is not good. Sometimes, unfortunately, because we see other people are doing these things, we also imitate them. But after some years of work, for example, after at least 5, but maybe even 5 is little, but at least after 5 years, 5 to 10 years, it's a time to revisit our entire organization, our aims, objectives, our policies, and see whether we should carry on or we should revise. So when it comes to a strategic planning and operational planning, we can list these differences. One is that a strategic planning normally is undertaken and decided by the highest level of that organization. So it's not something that manager of one section can do. The other thing is that in a strategic planning, they are not only concerned about efficiency of different sections and different sectors. In the strategic planning, the whole organization is revisited, and maybe even the aim of organization is going to change. For example, maybe we had a primary school, now we want to make a high school, either to change it to high school, or we think there is another primary school, we have enough of experience and staff, now we can go to high school and let the new ones to, for example, take care of primary school, for example. Or maybe we have reached a level that now we need to have a college. Maybe we had a small clinic, now we want to have a polyclinic. Or maybe we think that this is no longer working, we need to close down this activity, this business, and start another business or activity. So these are strategic decisions. Also in strategic planning, normally we are coming up with long-term plans, not short-term plans. Also in strategic planning, not only we consider the existing resources, but also you would consider potentials. Maybe with what we have already, we cannot grow, but we see there is a potential that now people trust us, we have confidence. Maybe we can, for example, get some loan, maybe we can start some partnership, so maybe we can grow. Of course, as I said before, you should not grow just for the sake of growing and then put everything in danger, especially your mental health or spirituality. But if you can, in a comfortable way, grow, you must grow. If your institution is built on taqwa and with the aim of serving, then if you can grow, you must grow. So you can think of adding to your resources. And also in strategic planning, normally there is a risk because it's restructuring, redesigning everything. So this is why if, for example, small plans, you can go by majority, for example, just relative, majority. Here you need maybe consensus sometimes, or sometimes 2/3 of people to agree. You need more consultation, it takes more time because there's a risk here more than normal plans. Okay, I think this is enough for planning. Now we move to decision making. This is very important part of any management, to make decisions. And as you know, you cannot say, okay, there's a period that we make decision and we just implement. We always need to make some kind of decisions, small or big. Decision making is so important that some people even have said management is the art of making decisions. Management is to make decisions. So it's something that is always there. What should we do when we want to make decisions properly? First of all, we should see whether there are issues or not. Don't wait for problems to become too big in order to draw your attention. A good manager would not wait till people start screaming and shouting and fighting in his institutions, either his staff or people from outside, the client, the customers, I don't know. Or, for example, gets into trouble with the government, with the banks. You don't need to wait till problems become very big. A good manager is always monitoring and seeing if there is any issue that they need to make the decision for that issue. So, the first thing that I would like to mention is that you should be the first person who would notice that there is something for which we have to make a measure. Maybe you are not satisfied with your institution, but still you should be the person who knows the limits. For example, I say with this staff, with this money, I don't know, with this location, with these regulations, with this market, I'm not satisfied and I cannot do anything better. Okay, but you must be the first person to know all these things, and you must know even if there's little chance for progress, you must know be the first person. If it's too technical, you must have advisors. You must have people in the staff who are experienced who can tell you. But don't wait for them to come. Ask them. Search for this. So basically, a manager should be not, taking things for granted. So first, to look for problems if there are. Second, before making a decision, you need to have fair, balanced, comprehensive, reliable assessment of the problem. Sometimes, unfortunately, we rush without knowing exactly the problem and the solution. We make a decision, or we rely on few people who are very close to us and disregard opinion of others, or we only rely on the expertise available in our organization and we don't ask others to help us. I am not saying you have to exhaust yourself for every decision, because your time is important, your resources are limited, and sometimes there are secrets that you cannot share with everyone. I know that. But I'm saying, don't make any decision unless you are comfortable about it, unless you think you know enough to make this decision with confidence. If you need more time, take your time. And if you say, no, it's urgent, I have only 24 hours, I have only, 1 week to make a decision, I cannot delay. Okay, within that time, collect as much as possible information, seek the opinion, but make minimal decision. Maybe there is a cluster of decisions that you have to make, and only one of them or two of them you have to make it in 1 week, not all of it. So don't say that because now I have to make a decision, so I changed everything. I make 10 decisions because they are connected. No. Keep it to the minimum and do the rest when you are positive. When in your heart and mind you have sukoon, that to the best of my knowledge and to the best of expertise available, this is the best decision. So evaluation and assessment of the problem and collecting information, seeking opinion about it is very important. And one of the things that here helps a lot is mashwara, consultation, which is a big issue in Quran and Islam in general, to the extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that believers decide for their affairs through mashwara. وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ. Their affairs are run based on mashwara. Mashwara is not the only thing, but certainly mashwara is one of the pillars of Muslim way of life. A Muslim as an individual or as a leader, as a manager, would never make decisions which are new, unless makes mashwara. If it's a repetitive decision and you have already done mashwara before, you are convinced, you have, fair understanding, you don't need to do again mashwara. But if it is new or has new dimensions, you need mashwara. Even Allah says to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ, consult them in their affairs. Not because Rasulullah necessarily was learning from them, but Rasulullah had to consult them to establish this as a norm in Muslim community. If Rasulullah is going to consult, then everyone else has to consult. And also these people in this way get opportunity to build their capacity for having opinion. As we said in the course on the Islamic followership, true followers are the people who have opinions. At least after the leader, there must be 1-2 levels of followers who understand, who analyze, who can make opinions. They share their opinion with the leader. And if, God forbids, one day the leader is not there, the leader is disappearing, is dying or whatever, then among them, they have people that they can quickly undertake that responsibility. Maybe not as best as the leader, but they are not people who have been only listening and only following and have had no opinion, no chances to express their opinions and then see in practice, was it good, was it bad? No. They must have opinion. But at the end, the decision is made by the leader after mashwara. إذا عزمت فتوكل على الله. When you make up your mind, of course, a Muslim leader is the one who is open, who is fair, who is listening honestly, not just pretending that he's listening. A person who only has the interest of the people and community and the cause of the justice and truth in mind. If one side becomes clear for him, goes for that, puts his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all people, whether people had this opinion or another opinion, no opinion, all would help him and follow his decision. But we need to have people who give mashwara, and for them to have something to offer, they need to be thinking and they need to be following news and being able to have a sound judgment. So mashwara is very, very important. And inshallah, those who are interested, they can refer to what we discussed in the course on followership. Also, we had few sessions on mashwara for a group of Muslim therapists in London. But just in order not to deprive ourselves from hadith about mashwara, I mentioned only 2-3 hadiths about mashwara, and we carry on with our discussion because our time is very short and we have only 10 sessions, and this is already the 5th session. Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam says, Al-istisharatu aynul hidayah. Mashwara, consultation, is aynul hidayah, is the spring of guidance. Ayn has different meanings, but one common meaning is a spring. So if you do mashwara, guidance comes out of it. Either what that person says shows you what is right, or by humbling yourself and listening to that person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would guide you directly. Either guiding you through the mouth of that person, or maybe that person says something and then you reflect and you understand something else. Or maybe you hear 5 opinions. It's not that everyone is saying their best thing, but guidance comes after you humbly and honestly seek opinion of people. الاستشارة عين الهداية وقد خاطر من استغنى برأيه. And whoever is only depending on his or her own opinion is taking big risk. Don't just rely on your own opinion, even if you are educated, even if you are experienced. Be humble, know your limits. Even if you know a way that may work, maybe there are other ways that can work better, with less cost, with less troubles, with more enduring or more expanded barakah. So do mashwara. And sometimes you underestimate problems and then you may actually totally fail. In another hadith, Imam Ali says something very important. He says, the person who is actually facing some problem, because he or she is part of the case and has some attachment, there is a subjectivity in his opinion. For example, I want to make a decision about where to live or where to stay or what to do. Maybe if someone else was in the same situation, I could give him a sound opinion. It's my field, it's something that I've experienced. But for myself, because there is attachment, maybe one way is my preference, more convenient. I don't know. I have some personal interest anyway, especially when it is something between me and other people, how to deal with them. It's better if I ask someone who is impartial. This is very important because people sometimes think that because they know enough, they can make the decision without mashwara. Yes, you know enough, but if it was for someone else, it was okay. But for yourself, you need someone that is impartial and can look at the case and tell you as an impartial and objective view what you should do. Amir al-Mu'minin says, إنما حض على المشاورة لأن رأي المشير صرف ورأي المستشير مشوب بالهوى. The reason emphasis has been put on consultation is that the one who is mushir, the one who gives his mashwara, his opinion, his opinion is pure, self. This is objective, is impartial. But the opinion of the one who is asking for mashwara is not pure, is not impartial. Mashubun bil hawa is mixed with his or her desires. So you have to be careful. There are people that we should not do mashwara with them, and there are people that we should ask for their mashwara. There are people who are fearful, very fearful, very conservative, very worried, very muhtat, precautious. If you want to go and buy something, they say, sit at home. You don't need to go outside. Maybe a car is passing by and hit you. Whatever you want to do, they say no. Okay, these people are not good to do mashwara with. People who are very greedy, or people who are not honest. These are people that you should not do mashwara with them. But there are people that especially are recommended to do mashwara with them. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, إن المشورة لا تكون إلا بحدودها الأربع. So in your organization, in your personal life, in community life, when you want to do mashwara, and you must do mashwara for important decisions at least, for new decisions especially, these are 4 things to observe. فأولها أن يكون الذي تشاوره عاقلا. The one that you consult him or her should be aqil, should be a rational person, a thoughtful person. intelligent person, not emotional only, not a person that makes decisions, lightly, easily, is driven by emotions, by fashion, by publicity, by pressures, by majority, or things like this. Who is aqil? Mashwara with aqil. In courses on followership, we talked about who is aqil. In courses on practical wisdom, we have talked about it again. والثانية أن يكون حرا متدينا. The second condition is that that person must be free in the sense of noble. In my humble opinion, hur means noble. Hur is someone who does things because finds them moral and virtuous, even if there is no fear of punishment, if there is no reward. Still, hur does what is morally right and doesn't do what is morally wrong. Has a deep conscience and deep sense of morality. This is hur. The person that you do mashwara should be hurran mutadayyanan. He's a noble, virtuous person who is also religious. He has taqwa and he has conscience. Therefore, he tells you what is right and what is virtuous. He wouldn't think that if I say this, some people may not like it, some people may, be bad with me, He wants to be what is the best for you. He's not unnecessarily, worried about other people's opinion, etc. وَالثَّالِثَةُ أَنْ يَكُونَ صَدِيقًا مُؤَاخِيًا. The third condition is that that person should be a friend who has fraternal relation with you, a brotherly relation with you, someone that loves you, someone that considers you as part of his own family, his own community, someone that is restless when you have problems. Not that someone who doesn't bother about you, just tells you something and then if you go through problems, he doesn't mind. والرابعة أن تطلعه على سرك فيكون علمه به كعلمك ثم يسر ذلك ويكتمه. The final condition is that you have to inform him about your problem. Because if someone doesn't know your problem, how can he help you? Of course, if someone anonymously, without knowing you, can help you, it's better not to mention your problem to someone who knows you. But if there is such a aqil brother who is aqil, who is hur, who is mutadayyin, who is really a true brother, then if there is such a big decision, tell him everything. Not tell him, part of the story and hide from him other facts. If it's going to involve ghaiba, okay, try other people. But if it is something that really needs a solution, even ghaiba can be here permitted. For example, there is a problem between husband and wife, and there is no one who can help me unless they know me. Okay, I can not only say my story or the problems that my spouse has, I have to tell this person everything. As much as possible, don't do ghaiba. And if you need to do ghaiba, as much as possible, mention it to someone who doesn't know her or you or her or him, whatever. But if there's only one person who can help me and he knows us, okay, if he has these conditions, go to him, but give him the full story, not part of the story. But this person is the one that yusirru zalika, would keep it as a secret, وَيَكْتُمُ, and would keep it confidential. He's not going to mention to anyone else. So these are the people that we can do mashwara with them. Of course, depending on the significance of the issue, these conditions can become more or less important. And another thing is that if you are consulted, you must be very honest. It's very, very bad if you don't share your true and honest opinion. If you just want to quickly dismiss them, or for example, you have some interest yourself, you don't want to give them the full picture. No, you have to give them the best of your opinion. Okay, there are many other things in our hadith, but I think it's enough because we want to continue. So, one a step in the process of decision making after noticing the problem, evaluation and assessment of the problem is mashwara. This mashwara has lots of benefits. Quickly, one is that people in your organization or your community would feel honored, respected. They realize that they matter to you. They realize that you are not an arrogant person. You do mashwara with them. But not just you pretend that their opinion is important. You really listen to them because people understand. Maybe you can deceive them once or twice, but you cannot deceive them all the time. They should see that you really listen, and if there's anything good, you accept. But of course, you should not also accept whatever they say because you want to just please them. Listen to them, make it clear that you are really trying to understand what is the best decision for the society, for the community, for the organization, whatever. But you are not expected to listen to majority or to who has a louder voice. In any case, this mashwara gives them respect. This mashwara builds in them confidence. This mashwara helps you to understand among your staff, among your colleagues, who are the people that have better opinions so that in future you can give them higher responsibilities, or for example, you can make them head of branches or departments. It is through this mashwara that you can assess their ability. You can assess how much they are concerned about their personal interests, how much they are concerned about the interests of the institution or organization or community, whatever it is. Also, if you succeed after this decision, they feel very happy, much happier because they were part of this process. They feel this is their success. If God forbid there is a mistake in the decision, there is a failure, they feel responsible. They would not put all the blame on you. They feel, okay, we said this, so we are also part of the cause. So whether it's victory or failure, in both cases, it's better to do mashwara so that you have the best chance of victory. But even if you don't have victory, they feel responsible, they feel part of the process. Another thing is that among your colleagues and staff, they also will do mashwara in their own decisions, in their own departments, with their own colleagues, and this will go from top to the bottom. This becomes the norm. Maybe even in their personal life, they will do mashwara. So you are doing a great service to the organization and to them as persons, as individuals, and friendship will grow in your organization. Trust will grow in your organization. People don't think you are consulting with few people. You have your own gangs or your own band or whatever. Friendship will grow, and these people that you do mashwara with them, also you should do it in a systematic way. This is very important. Sometimes people consult an alim or consult an expert, but ad hoc. For example, in our community, one issue arises, we ask one alim for opinion. Another issue, we ask another alim. Another issue, a third alim. Then none of these ulama are aware of the previous problems and previous solutions, and therefore they cannot give the best opinion. Even people sometimes just choose whom to ask for opinion. For example, they want to make a decision which is not very traditional, not very much fitting into the norms. They go to this alim, for example, this one is very open. Or if you want to make a rigid decision, they say, okay, this alim is very rigid. This is not a good way of doing mashwara. You need mashwara to be in a systematic way so that the person who gives you mashwara has the full picture and also can see whether it has worked, it has not worked. You can also assess whether the mashwara has worked or not. There has been, for example, cases that for some projects, I was just once or twice invited. Then people think I am part of that project. They say, we thought you are part of the committee, whatever. I'm not saying that this was with purpose, but this is not fair. That you ask someone for opinion once or twice, and then you say everywhere, that this person was involved or is involved. Even sometimes people don't have any purpose, just they don't realize. If you want to say this work is with mashwara, with so and so, it has to be systematic. It has to be with feedback, back and forth. Otherwise, just asking a question and or for a meeting and then doing what you want. For example, sometimes people say, okay, we consult 5 alim, 10 alim. Okay, how much these 5, 10 alim are involved? How much they are aware? Once this person, another time that person. This is different from saying that 5 alim are supervising this project or we regularly consult them. So mashwara has its own system. Then when you make mashwara, information is collected, consultation is made, you have to now process. You need to reflect. As much as possible, buy time. As much as possible, take your time. Many times people don't like managers or leaders who take time. Many times people say, be fast, be quick. They want to rush you. Sometimes they may even accuse you, you cannot make up your mind because you are taking time. You must not be slow, of course, but you must not rush. And don't let anyone rush you unnecessarily. A very practical example, for example, when it was coming to declaring at beginning of months of Ramadan or end of months of Ramadan, I always try to be the last person. Why I need to be the first person or second person to declare? Always experience shows that last minute something more can come, a new information can come. And also it's a huge responsibility. Why I need to be the first person or second person? If other people, through their sources, they have come to certainty, 5, 10, 11, I don't know, 2, 3, whatever, and I'm the last person, I see there is time. It's a matter of few hours. I wait. And if they make up their mind and they declare, they have the responsibility, and I have the certainty that Alhamdulillah, for all these scholars, it has been established, and I can, with confidence declare it, and no news has come that would override. So we don't need to be always the first person or the fast person to make decision. Not to be slow, not to lose the time, but not to rush. Take your time. You must reach the point that between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are clear as much as possible. Especially in our hadith says that there are conditions that you must not make decision in those conditions. For example, if you are angry, either about this issue or about another issue. Maybe I have a problem with my staff, my colleagues, I don't know, other companies, with, I don't know, local government, whatever. Or I have a problem at home, I'm angry. Or I have, headache, I have migraine, I'm not comfortable, I'm not relaxed. try not to make decision in such circumstances. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam says, La ra'ya lihaqin wa la haqib. For someone who is under pressure, there is no opinion. And if you make a decision normally, sooner or later you will regret why I made this decision at that time. Another thing is that what you want to make decision, it has to be something which is doable, not make a decision which is not doable, not to be too ambitious. Consider the realities, the facts, experiences of yourself and others. For example, I want to make a decision, but no one is going to welcome this decision. Amir al-Mu'minin said, La ra'ya liman la yuta'. If someone is not listened to, if someone is not obeyed, he has no opinion. What does it mean he has no opinion? It doesn't mean that he has no opinion of himself. It means that this opinion has no value. When Imam Ali was not accepted, he was not exercising leadership. And when he was accepted but not listened to, he was a Khalifa, but when people were not listening to him, he couldn't exercise his leadership as he wanted. There's a very famous hadith, I think it's Man la yahduru al-faqih, that Imam Ali asked Imam Hassan alayhi salam to tell people not to do Salat al-Tarawih. But people didn't listen. And they started saying wa sunnata and mentioned some name. And Imam alayhi salam heard the noise of people and said to Imam Hassan, leave them. He was 5 years Khalifa, but he didn't manage to stop that. And he didn't fight for it. La ra'ya liman la yuta'. You have to assess, is this something for which we have to fight and then endanger everything else? Or it is something that we have to be patient and suffer? Sometime in my organization, in my community, I have to be patient. We have to suffer because there is no enough appreciation, there is no enough unity. In any case, don't make decisions just because you think this is the right decision. Even right decision in a wrong context cannot work. Sometimes you have to wait and improve the context. So these are few elements that we have to consider about decision making. And again, as we said before, trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making tawakkul. Especially when you want to make the last point, when you want to sign something. Definitely say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, one salawat, not as a formality, as a reality. So that your decision is something which is, inshallah, receiving blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like an arrow that you shoot, and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide that arrow. وَمَا رَمَيْتَ إِذْ رَمَيْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. Okay, inshallah, next session we'll talk about organization. So we have already talked about planning and decision making. Inshallah, we talk about how to organize things. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help our leaders and managers to be far-sighted, to be balanced, to be efficient, and to be transparent as much as possible, and to have only Allah's pleasure, interests of community, interests of humanity as their concern. So now if we have questions, we can take questions. Is there any question? Okay, it seems that there is no question. So I leave you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's merciful hands. And I pray that inshallah you, your family, and everyone inshallah would be safe and healthy and happy and strong inshallah. And look forward to meeting you again inshallah next week bi'iznillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.